Welcome back, everybody, to the Overwatch League. Vicky Kitty here, joined with Necro once again. We are back together, and we got some more APAC action for you guys.
It's going to be so exciting. We already had two incredible matches to be able to kick off the East knockouts, and now we get a chance to roll through to the next bracket. We've got Bracket B coming up with two more matches, and I think we're in for a good ride. I feel like the stage was set for that, right?
I mean, after the last two matches we had, Necro, I honestly, going into this week, I was so excited because there's been so much changes throughout the season that, we were expecting Illari coming out. We are playing currently on the patch that Illari has gotten nerfed on, which also adds to the excitement of seeing the different type of metas that we're going to be exposed to. There's so many different heroes that have been played already. We saw 10 different type of heroes already played in one match in our previous match. Now I'm excited to see how these next two matches play out, with Guangzhou Charge versus O2 Blast being the next one up.
Yeah, there's been so much compositional diversity, whether you're taking a look at scrims, especially when you look at how teams love to be able to play around specific map features. And because we're playing in this map pick format for knockouts, that brings in another incredibly exciting element when you look at, okay, well, is a team going to try to lean into a pick that they feel like is going to be a good counter pick to a team, versus are they going to try to lean into a pick that plays to their strengths in terms of practice they may have had in scrims previously?
Yeah, it's a good point. For those of you guys just tuning in, by the way, the higher seed does select the first map, while the loser following up after that map gets to pick the following map, while the winner gets to pick the side. Usually how it goes here when it comes to these knockouts here too. So it's exciting to see which first map we're going to be going to here, with the Guangzhou Charge being our first Overwatch League team that we could see compete in this bracket. I'm curious because that's also a team that really needs to redeem themselves, but they usually come out with very interesting comps at the same time.
Yeah, Guangzhou Charge is coming in as the lower seed in this match. When you ended up looking at them towards the beginning of the season, I don't think many people had that on their bingo card, that they would be lower than a contenders team. But after implementing several roster changes throughout the second half of the season, we do have a newer look that finally started to grab some traction at the tail end of that second half. So you're right, they're on a redemption arc right now. Hope these last 2 weeks have been their training arc as well, because they really do need to pull it together in order to have a good shot at being able to make it deeper into a playoff run.
I'm excited to see how Gaga is going to play into this too, especially looking at Flashpoint, our new game mode for map number 3. We have a bit of ways before we get there, but there's just so many things I've been theory crafting watching our last two previous matches here. They actually could do justice to the Guangzhou Charge, and their opposition is O2 Blast, the team that is currently the higher seed in this matchup, finished off in 8th place.
Oh boy, O2 Blast. O2 Blast is one of those contenders teams that has always had a legacy behind them. The number of players that have gone through the doors of this organization to be able to advance into the Overwatch League is something that they suffered from this time around. Success. They had to make so many roster adjustments at the end of the first stage, heading in through the midseason madness break, where last stage was also very, very rocky for this team in particular. But they have their 5 now. They've been sticking to it. They have been well oiled and practiced, and they hope to be able to implement a lot of that here today, when they were also one of those teams that was playing much more creatively than most of the other teams in APAC.
I like how you bring that up, because they also were able to kind of pick themselves up at the very end of the qualifiers. They didn't really start off too strong here, and in this matchup, they have the advantage too. Of course, we are seeing different comps coming out, with so many changes being done into Overwatch 2 for this season. So I'm excited to see how O2 Blast also plays into this with the Guangzhou Charge. Usually rocking the Pharah, but with so many other options here, Larry and Do making their appearance into the Overwatch League, it's exciting. Our first map is going to be going onto Antarctic Peninsula.
This makes a ton of sense for O2 Blast to pick. You brought up such a great point earlier about having excitement to see what Gaga is going to come out of the gates with, because I think that's the biggest question mark for the Guangzhou Charge. Gaga is a Winston player by nature, by history, and Winston right now in this meta is not considered one of the best tanks that you could lean into in order to actually play these matches. That's why we've seen a lot of Orisa. We saw Doomfist in our last series. A lot of people are also trying to lean just a little bit more into a brawl, but what does that mean that Gaga is going to be able to come out with here when that just isn't usually tanks that are in his wheelhouse?
I like you bring that up because we still have seen some glimpse of Winston coming out. I mean, at the end of the day, really, the only thing that was changed was that secondary fire from his Tesla cannon. But in general, too, just seeing how other teams have been able to adapt around the Junker Queen. We've even been seeing the Jotes coming back again. We've been seeing Orisa coming through on the TP. The Demon Orisa just coming in from your backline that you least expected. So many different options already being displayed out here while we get set up.
Well, another piece of this puzzle that we saw is not even just whether or not, like, we're going to end up seeing these different tank choices come through. With the Guangzhou Charge, one of the key elements of their success towards the end of that stage was Jinmu's Pharah. How exciting is it to be able to see this come into play when you also are able to bolster this up with something like the Mercy, of course, to give that pocket, but also that Alari is now in the mix. Alari has a great way to be able to set up that pylon and also just kind of do double heals into this Pharah.
Also, don't forget that secondary fire damage boost was reduced from 30% to 25% here. Lee Soo-min being able to get that first pick onto Jimmy, but the trade-off, ROA leaving himself vulnerable after trying to chase after Prophet. Who are you? Gonna be able to get that advantage before making his way right back to the point, but look who is soaring in the sky still. It's gonna be Jinmu alongside Xerneas, who's taking a little bit of pressure here.
Oh, we're gonna see Jimmy Torbjorn now switching off of the Soldier 76 and gonna be making that swap over that'll really help be able to protect that backline just a little bit better. Also, Torbjorn can do wonders to be able to, anybody, especially like a slippery Lucio on the walls. But Guangzhou Charge is playing this slower style of composition. Fair poke does mean that you need to take a little bit more time to be able to set up, make sure that Jinmu has an angle onto the enemy team and is waiting for those cooldowns like the Genji Deflect to be offline. But pay attention to the Charge. It looks like they are just about ready to go in there if they're able to grab the first pick.
Look at Jinmu in his positioning here. Fight for that slight high ground over the platform from Gaga, but Jinmu gets a little too close to Prophet. Being on this Cassidy is going to be a huge threat for the Charge here, and with them now being able to hold forward, Prophet is about to get that Deadeye. Sending the Charge all the way back. They're running for their lives. Gaga's trying to hold down the front line, but who are you? Wiping out two. It's going to allow O2 Blast to set their feet in the advantage point currently, nearing 55%.
I mean, they just touched the spawn doors. They touched the spawn doors. That's how impactful that fight was. And because of the staggers that came through, Charge are going to need to take a lot of time for the 5 to be able to get back online and come in to the point where you called it. Vicky, there's a Deadeye online. What a great zoning tool right now to at least keep the Charge at bay and also force out this Mei wall as Jinmu switch over to the Mei. That is such a valuable cooldown that is now offline.
Meanwhile, who are you with the blade ready for this fight? The rush, but huge here coming in from the sky. It's the captive sun to wreck everybody. Meanwhile, who are you? He gets away, finds Jimmy. Farway gets taken out. Or Lee Soo-min had gotten taken out too. He also had activated that rush prior, but O2 Blast managed to restabilize while Gaga is still here on the point. Who are you can only do so much before the rest of O2 Blast comes in. He has not died. He cleans up Gaga 99% to 0 so far in favor for O2 Blast.
Oh my gosh, Jinmu can't even stall anymore. You've got the healing pylon down on point to be able to help trigger just a little bit more overtime fire coming through from the Charge, but oh, Vicky, it's over. Oh, it's just over.
That was the quickest first round we got so far for the day here. Huge here for O2 Blast as well. Who are you is insane. He didn't die a single time. He wiped out that entire point, even when O2 Blast was at a disadvantage for that final fight. I believe they lost out on Protect and Lego from the very beginning. And then who are you? With some help from Lee Soo-min and that rush originally here. We can see the replay right now too. Finding Jimmy here, also was about to get the blade for that next fight on top of this. Research management looking on fire here for who are you?
Absolutely. What an incredibly dominant performance there by that Genji. I would love to see if it comes out again. I feel like if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But we are going to see the Symmetra at least to get O2 Blast out of the gates. And it will be that signature Genji pick once again. Genji being prevalent in the meta, you've got kind of, pick your poison here. Where you get to play signature hero, Jinmu also playing a signature hero. And now it's about how you end up topping that up. Prophet's on the Bastion. I repeat, Prophet is on the Bastion.
I love this. I love being able to see this here. Who Are You gets the first pick once again. Xerneas flying for their lives with some help with Faraway before Faraway gets taken out immediately right afterwards. Jinmu also being able to find that onto Who Are You. Finally the threat taken out from O2 Blast, but the counter rotate with Prophet being on this Bastion, chasing down. Oh, he got pulled in. Finally the Dragon Blade, nowhere to run as Jimmy is the next to fall. O2 Blast once again have the first advantage on the point.
Oh boy, we saw how that went in round number 1. O2 Blast being able to set up is also huge. You've got Prophet on a more immobile hero that Bastion would love to be able to set up in this turret form and just be able to mow down the charge as soon as they walk in. But it's down. Okay, big opening here for the charge to get into this.
Going out here too for you. Some temporarily nice immortality from Lee Soo-min. Reset coming in from Lego, and Lee Soo-min have been there, but they're losing out on the window for this fight. They give some space over to the charge. Xerneas had a huge immortality field right there, but Who Are You still, at that moment, had remained unkillable. He finally gets taken out again, and Protect is going to meet him, so it's going to be a nice reset, but a plethora of ultimates for O2 Blast to work with in that next fight.
I'm looking at, funny enough, Prophet's ultimate. I do feel like this Bastion could help open up the point, or at the very least, it forces Guangzhou Charge into this awkward position that if Who Are You is around the corner, then you're just going into the loving arms of a Genji. It's not going to be enough, but it does funnel them into a point where Protect could just go for the Rampage here.
Rampage coming in, Xerneas getting caught in the middle of that, right through that window while Falling took to the skies for the captive son, but it was already too late. That Rampage had already been activated here in O2 Blast. Get the waltz right back onto the field.
That was after Guangzhou Charge had already invested 2 ultimates as well. You saw the amplification matrix to come out just to try to push back O2 Blast, and then Faraway also popped the captive son. That is now offline heading into these next few fights where O2 Blast is to get aggressive here with a sound barrier, and Who Are You has a blade. This Terra Surge, oh, it's gotta have to be a big one and try to stop this mobility from O2 Blast.
Oh, huge immortality here, but is it gonna be enough to resist? Gaga, he goes down with the O, and Who Are You comes in, dashing through the opposition, finding a 3K here while Protect gets the last pick onto Jin. Huge team fight there, but rather expensive for O2 Blast.
It was very expensive, but at this point, Guangzhou Charge has also used basically everything else in the tank. It's gonna be Jimmy's overclock to try to save the day, but with the architecture of this point, there are a lot of hiding places for O2 Blast to be around, and there's a Genji with a deflect. It's not gonna be that easy to be able to get that overclock through.
That's just so scary out here too. Off to that side angle where no one's focusing on him. Meanwhile, Gaga finally takes out the threat, but with no support from O2 Blast, sustainability is not there. Guangzhou Charge managed to flip the point here. 99 now nearing the 50%.
Okay, Guangzhou Charge are back in this. It was a really nice recontest. The overclock at the end of the day was able to be weaved in to grab a member of O2 Blast. Taking that piece out of the equation was huge for Guangzhou Charge to now look at being able to use these double support ultimates in a much better position. You're on the defense now, but you do have to scatter because Bastion's back.
Oh, now needs all the help in the world. Sound barrier coming in from Xerneas. Faraway about to get the captain son here too. Jimmy finding a huge shot at the Prophet though, and through that window, Lucius goes down. Jinmu being on the sim can easily set up here in this choke point. You can see the damage being done. Despite that, 40 still gets that pick up to Xerneas, but has to retreat. Gets the reset now with the rest of O2 Blast.
This Symmetra pick has been massive for the Charge. Who Are You on the Genji with a deflect, not able to deflect that damage, and especially with the mobility from both like the Genji and the Lucio, those turrets are going to slow them down so much. Jinmu has been playing this flawlessly. It can't be the Pharah, it's the Symmetra, and it's going to be that photon barrier up first.
Sun here. Wait, just trying to go off to the left side angle here while Poor defense are right behind. He's about to get the play that the Rampage has been activated. Zach taking care of Zernius, the backline non-existent for the charge. Overtime activated. Everybody to me with the Terra Surge. Guangzhou Charge have planted their feet onto this point, and with the desperate sound barrier from Lego, they're just trying to stall for as long as possible. Protect the desperate swap into Doom, but it's not enough time for O2 Blast to re-engage. We're going on to round 3.
Very nice stuff coming out there from the charge. That Terra Surge at the end from Gaga Zarissa was a nice way to be able to seal the deal. O2 Blast had a great effort to be able to contest after that, just biding their time until that Terra Surge was offline, but with some very smart swaps to the Symmetra, that was a nice, clean recontest coming through, and yeah, it's going to be round 3. We have to go over to sub-level now to see who can even the score.
Like what we're seeing so far here, especially the adjustments from Jinmu being on the sim here. They were able to really take care of Foryu, who was a big threat in that first round. Now making sure that his death count wasn't staying at 0. Starting off already from the gates here, you can see Farway getting set up. Now right behind Gaga. But it's about controlling this space so that way you can maintain that high ground platform with Prophet getting that first pick onto Jinmu. Oh wow, O2 Blast have wiped out the high ground. Guangzhou Charge only having Gaga and Zernius before it's a team kill here. Protect went crazy following up after Prophet here. They'll be able to get advantage on this point first.
Yeah, the biggest issue with the Symmetra here is that there's much less cover for you to set up these turrets to accurately hit targets that you want them to. As I say that, I don't know what happened there, but Who Are You is already offline.
He was just doing such a good job at making sure Warrior isn't that consistent threat here. Very quick adaptation that we're currently seeing from the Guangzhou Charge after just a round alone here. Managing to retake the point currently. They're getting wiped out by O2 Blast and now allowing themselves to get set up with those turrets.
The turrets are still able to be bypassed if you just try to play the cards right. But it's this teleporter that has been making things so difficult here for O2 Blast. Who Are You is able to get away with murder as the rest of the O2 Blast team is now able to move back onto the point to try to take it back from the charge. But it's going to be a constant back and forth, being surprised by where the Symmetra teleporter can completely change up the sides here for charge.
We saw Gaga and Jimmy just target down Who Are You while the rest of the charge were getting torn apart by O2 Blast that were on that point. Great distraction here while Prophet is about to move in with the overclock too.
Oh, the overclock. Great way to be able to push everyone back from the charge, especially because they're holding close around this corner.
Barrier coming in here
though.
too.
That's a great way to be able to stop that.
They did stop Jinmu and Reddy off their tracks immediately when that photon barrier was put up. O2 Blast playing patiently around this point since they have the advantage here too. Lego also has that sound barrier. They want to wait on this here since they're already nearing 55%. Gaga also has that Terra Surge, but the Rampage used first here from Protect. Tries to go through, almost getting blocked, but still was able to hit Zernius. Jimmy, Zernius with the grace, being able to save 3 with that immortality field before the Guangzhou Charge get overtaken by too much damage between Protect and Who Are You. Prophet also coming and controlling so much of that space with the Disruptor shot.
This is night and day difference. Charge had a lot more close quarters to be able to play around on Icebreaker, but the same strategies are not working this time around. With the high ground control that O2 Blast has taken, not only do you have Prophet on an off angle, but Who Are You is also able to flank behind the team, then you just can't cover for everything. Even if you have this teleporter up, you're able to kite away from that damage. So O2 Blast, they've already struck first.
Or maybe the first to go down, the window being activated by Zernius. That's a support lineup out from the Guangzhou Charge while overtime is activated in favor for O2 Blast. Who Are You gets Zernius. Protect is able to complete the job against Jimmy. The rest of O2 Blast have the number advantage and they've cleaned up the charge. No numbers left to contest on the points. And O2 Blast being able to nail that first map on Antarctic Peninsula.
They did struggle in that second round. Credit to the Guangzhou Charge to be able to take Icebreaker, but O2 Blast have figured it out. Especially if they're able to play from a defensive position. We saw how fast that first round went, and that third round looked even more dominant as well. So hey, O2 Blast are off to a great start here. Vicky, I'm pumped. We have already seen some great adjustments from both teams.
Absolutely, very quick too, and we also were able to see so much coming up for Profit at the very end for that last round here. O2 Blast looking to stay here in the game. We got map number 2. It's going to be hybrid on the other side of this break. Welcome back, everybody. O2 Blast take map number 1 on our Tartic Peninsula. It did go to round number 3, but Guangzhou Charge still trying out the Pharah to an extent where it's not bringing them the success that they were hoping for, even with a complete new meta change.
They still have a few more maps. They still have a few more maps, so I can't wait to see how the adjustments that they can make heading into this next one, especially because Guangzhou Charge are able to make their map pick to be able to bring us into another map in this series. And that brings out so many new possibilities as well. We've talked about how a lot of the compositions being run are very map dependent, or if you want to try to lean into something that's just a little bit more up your alley, there's tons of maps in the hybrid pool that we can see Guangzhou Charge lean into to try to play to their best. Eichenwald, definitely one of those, Vicky. I'm looking at Farah, I'm looking at Winston, potentially being able to make a reappearance here.
Hey, play into their strengths. That's what we got this rule set here for. That's why loser gets to pick the map, and you can expect O2 Blast to possibly choosing to sit on the defense side. Got to see Who Are You in the cam with the 2 hair clips, giving him the power up that he needs to massage that Genji brain. But we're gonna see how this goes into O2 Blast and how they've been able to perform after taking out some adjustments themselves, actually. Bringing out the Who Are You Genji. We got to see Prophet really pop off on that Sojourn at the very end of that final round.
That was really fun to see. I love being able to see these hit scans come back in. I feel like Cassidy has become more of a staple just from what we've seen so far, as well as Soldier 76 coming back. Vicky, I feel like I'm looking at Overwatch 2 last year with how often we've seen the Soldier come through and the fact that you could just run super speedy just around the map to try to create a different off angle for yourself has been just so many favors for the teams.
Last season, he was an actual nightmare. He was an actual nightmare. He's still incredibly good out here, but I believe they reduced that explosion damage from his Helix rocket by like 10 damage, and the values are now cost just like 10% more to get online here, but still being able to see so many different options being used, whether it be the cast, the soldier like you had mentioned, the soldier that we had seen previously. Nice to see that diversity in the meta that we just keep highlighting, because again, to me personally, it's always so fun, especially when it comes to these different maps and the adjustments that certain teams can play into to actually go into their strengths, like we are going to see here for the Guangzhou Charge.
Yep, Charge gonna come out of the gates though with the Symmetra, expecting a bit more of the okay, that's not the same. The Widowmaker's not the same. They were expecting the same, but it's not the same. We're gonna see Xerneas actually switch over to the Mercy, try to get far away back up and running before attempting this again. But Prophet was such a quick pick, already 20% in the ultimate charge. And Prophet just gets a chance to keep set up, and can he get another one?
The shot coming out here, O2 Blast. Just trying to find a way to get into position, kind of rotate around Guangzhou Charge. Jin was already taking so much damage. Try to set up those turrets before getting taken out by Prophet, who's on a terror. Lego's gonna help him out, find Xerneas, while Gaga's gonna be able to find him with a javelin, send him right back. Shout coming in for Protect. Stunned here by Gaga once again, trying to run away for his life. Far away not being there, really only Xerneas can help out the rest of the team. It's not enough sustain while Protect clears the way, frontlining, finding Gaga and Jimmy. It's a reset that we're going to be seeing.
Oh, Protect's Junker Queen has been so much fun to watch. Especially after getting just that quick 2K, the knife usage. It's been really awesome to help disrupt the Charge's game plan when they want to play around the Symmetra teleporter, try to sneak behind enemy territory, but Protect just isn't letting that happen, and these commanding shouts have been really helpful to also get O2 Blast into the mix.
Oh, Jimmy capitalizing here, but still you've lost out on Xerneas, who hasn't really been able to build up that sound barrier. At least try to delay here as Jimmy finds another one, finds the support lineup entirely. Nice follow between Jimmy and Farway at the very end there to get this payload moving.
Guangzhou Charge recognized how much Protect has been a problem. Isolated him, took him down first, and the space that Gaga was able to create gave Jimmy just so much room to work with to be able to get those headshots in and kick out all of the DPS members on O2 Blast. They gotta get set up this time. Charge also did not have too much more to actually capture on that first point after sneaking away with two sections of the pie. So that was a very fast take for them, and the teleporter has been so nice. Like, you cannot stress enough how much that has just disrupted O2 Blast's own gameplay to try to wrap around them.
What I like even more too is Guangzhou Charge not sticking to that bar here too, playing more so to their strengths here. O2 Blast see where Guangzhou Charge is, and caught in that territory, brother. You've been a problem. You're gonna get sent right back here. Who Are You does find that pylon, tries to delete that source of healing. But Farway does have that Captain Sun. He's going to hold on to it here while Protect now sends it in with the Rampage and shot on top of it. O2 Blast with all the sustainability that he did try to work with, but with that sound barrier done for, and the Captain Sun from Farway, they lost out on Jinmu and Jimmy, and what a great turnaround from the Guangzhou Charge, taking advantage of the timing of that Captain Sun at the very end of that team fight.
Captain Sun is going to be one of those ultimates that you always have to keep an eye out for whether or not you can like get a chain reaction, just make sure that you can get that burst damage down. And despite the fact that we ended up seeing some changes come through for Ilari previous to playing in the East Knockouts this weekend, it's still looking pretty good. Like, projectile size did decrease as well as the actual duration of the Sun struck. But look at that. I don't think it matters, Vicky. It's still good.
Honestly, that and the pylon. The pylon's been that biggest issue that I really have felt like I've struggled here. You see, Photon Barrier is being called in. Here comes the play from Goryu, was waiting to get into position, found Farway here. Sound Barrier from Xerneas to try to keep the rest of the Guangzhou Charge alive through that play, prevent Goryu from being the threat that he was in that previous map. Prophet narrowly survives until I spoke too soon. Now the rest of the Guangzhou Charge have been able to clear up that second point. O2 Blast back to this reset.
They have to go back to figure out how they're going to actually play this defense, because so far it's just not worked. I mean, Guangzhou Charge get to walk into this third point with 3.5 minutes in their time bank. O2 Blast have yet to be able to dig their heels into this hand to actually stop this pressure. Like that again! You can't be getting picks like that!
Jimmy catching Prophet, the rush being called in. See Gaga as that Terror Surge. By the way, Gaga is popping off right now. It's only died once thus far. Just waiting while Protect was able to find Jimmy. Falling incredibly low as Protect, and Lego is going to hold on to it just for that next fight, while the Captain Sun is the ult that's utilized instead from Farway, finding two, hugging the spawn room doors while the turrets are getting set up from Jinmu.
This is exactly how Guangzhou Charge want this composition to work. It's all about trying to get this damage down as quickly as possible. Ilari doesn't really offer a lot of utility in terms of its healing, but it sure can do a lot of damage. Guangzhou Charge, they've got to keep their wits about them. They want to try to close out this map with a ton of time left in the bank. Got to make sure that they don't fall to this rampage here to Protect.
Oh, Gaga jumps in. The Terror Surge. See the Rampage for Protect. It finds Farway and Jinmu. Terror Surge didn't get the outcome that they were expecting here, but at least with that Sound Barrier, they can use that as an insurance policy. Finding Goryu. Sound Barrier from Lego trying to match that, but the damage is too much. Protect does find Jinmu here too. Farway trying to get it off angle, but gets set down by Lego. Jimmy was just about to get that ult online. Has the overclock, but doesn't have that sustain. With Lego being able to find that next pick, at least been falling low. They want to go for a reset here. Guangzhou Charge still have those 2 minutes to work with.
Still a lot of time, but that was a big chance for Charge to just sink this in over the line, and O2 Blast coming out strong with a bit of that respawn advantage. Charge have to get those picks in much faster, especially with how close this payload is to the finish line. It's gonna have to be picks in very quick succession here. But the Charge, they do have the symmetric teleporter to close a ton of that distance, and they still have Jimmy's overclock. So put the teleporter down, get into the face of O2 Blast, and then allow Jimmy to pop the overclock and try to see if that's gonna be enough. Especially when, okay, not this time.
Oh no, you said overclock, and then we saw Jimmy just get deleted. Now they got a minute, less than 15 seconds. Guangzhou Charge, they understand the assignment. Just trying to back away, give O2 Blast some extra space, but this also works for O2 Blast where they can get these ultimates online much quicker.
Such a good point. They didn't have a whole lot in the tank when we ended up seeing them just a team fight ago, but it's sub 1 minute territory now. O2 Blast have a Genji Blade as well as the Katsune Rush that they're holding on to for a little bit. Plus, you know what, just round out the full slate of 5. That's coming up very fast.
Order up here. Jimmy activating that overclock here. Trying to get a different off angle while clearing up some of the extra space. Goryu still holding on to that play while Protect try to use the Rampage. Looks like it was canceled because the Sound Barrier from Xerneas coming in while Farway takes to the skies. with the captive Sun. Now you got less than 30 seconds here. While Who Are You has not burned that blade, just waiting to get around that next corner here too. Terror Surge activated from Gaga. Gets pushed back. Who Are You having to be careful. Needs some help here as Fallaway nails him down. Lee Soo-min's about to meet him right back in the spawn. Photon Bear creating that space against the rest of the charge and the spawn room doors. Less than 10 seconds. Nobody to touch the point. Not even Lego, who tried to dive right on top from the high ground.
What is Jimmy trying to say in the? Oh no! Ping boom? Question mark?
Initiating match.
I think they were thinking O2 Blast might have been able to touch there, and so they're giving credit to their opponents. Because it did look very close, right? Like Lego was just frames away from potentially being able to get the touch there, but it just didn't come through quite fast enough. Charge with any time in the bank here, that's massive, right? At the very least then, we are going to end up being able to get to extra rounds, assuming that O2 Blast is also able to finish the map.
Necker, I feel like I've kind of cursed Prophet for this map. I was talking about Prophet so much in map number 1. This time around, that survivability completely off the table here. Has died 9 times thus far, but still had that opportunity of getting that big pick off of Jimmy where it mattered the most at the very end of that fight. At the very least here, you know? But unfortunately here, gonna see on the other side how O2 Blast is gonna be able to make that adjustment, because they've been able to run so many different versions of the different comps that we've seen from that first map into Eichenwald.
It is still your fault that Prophet is dying so much. I just want you to know that it is your fault.
it just essentially just becomes a curse out here. Talking about the survivability of both Who Are You and Prophet, and suddenly that point just completely goes out the window. But also, it's a nice point from Charge to make those adjustments to pinpoint the threats.
Yes, absolutely. Give so much credit where credit is due, that Charge has been able to use the Symmetra to lock down the Genji, be able to actually go after these big threats. Wow. It's Prophet! He's down again! What a fast pick.
Go out and shoot. Shoot the turret, shoot the pylon, shoot everything. Still not going to be enough to split someone's that attention. And the heads, right? Vladi has no issue doing that, as we just saw right there from far away.
Another attempt coming through from O2 Blast to try to get into the mix, but Jinwoo this time around, getting taken down against a comeback on the Pharah. And it's around this tower that you start to see Pharah be able to make a huge impact, being able to stay safe, but it also comes with a few drawbacks where you're not really able to help out the ground game as much in terms of the front line.
It's a specialty for Jinwoo out here too. Just trying to be able to get the reset. Gets the health back before taking the skies once again. Very scary right here, but still this is allowed O2 Blast to clear up the point, be able to get this payload moving, finish off what is left of the charge while they get that reset done.
Pretty fast take though, even though we saw O2 Blast just struggle a little bit from those early picks. Get through the gate quite easily, and it's going to be another hero swap up for the charge as Jinwoo drops the Pharah for the Mei. So being able to play just a little bit more close-knit with the rest of the team, play a bit more of this brawl style with the Jinwoo Mei just being able to help isolate and target the O2 Blast, slow things down with that freeze ray. But Lee Soo-min says, I don't think so. Like, computer rushes this.
Korean's been so good at taking care of that pylon, taking care of that source of healing from the Guangzhou Charge. Here comes a flaming from Who Are You. They get the trade, lose out on Prophet and Jinwoo here. The sound barrier from Lego to match up with Xerneas right afterwards. He used it second here to keep him sustained for Who Are You until that blade ended. Still finds Jimmy, and he's trying to contest them inside of that side corridor before focusing that attention onto Gaga. A lot of split positioning here for the Charge before they inevitably fall like domino pieces in a line.
That's the benefit of the Charge running the composition that they do, is that they can play more groups together. But that's something that O2 Blast can also capitalize on. They're playing a lot of heroes that can disrupt that block of enemies. When you look at Who Are You, being able to get those deflects in, also just dash behind and make it really difficult for the supports to actually focus then on not only just healing the team, but also trying to do damage to themselves.
Oh,
Prophet
huge
again.
Prophet getting the
Okay,
revenge
he
that he
heard
needed
you
right there. He heard it, and Protect wanted to get the follow too. You guys think like 2 clay to get the clearance on this point, being able to find point B here. Who are you, by the way, with a huge deflect onto Jimmy? Love to see that off that overclock. Another utility use out here from the Charge while they sit on this defense.
And now Jinmu is switching again. So it's back to the Torbjorn that Jinmu started off this round of Eichenwald. And hopefully able to get set up because O2 Blast are coming. They got their rampage and they're able to just plow through the entire team. Oh, that Suzu was so nice too there for Lucy Mid.
That was huge right here too. The rampage though for Protect does enough damage, gets the follow-up. Gaga gets taken out, and Xerneas was so low. Can't get that final pick. Lego and Xerneas are both so close to getting the sound barrier. Far away and Lisumin both have their ults as well. So both support lineups are about to have that sustain for this next fight. And just look at the way that Charge are playing this different angle to try to sandwich out of O2 Blast on the other side.
Oh, that's a quick kunai into Jinwoo's dome. Without the Torbjorn, you're lacking a lot of DPS, but it's gonna have to be made up for with Farway's Captive Sun. But are they even gonna have time to use it?
Oh, the blade coming in, finds Farway. With that rush, should have put him into that position. Like was about to get that sever that we mentioned earlier, but it's a wipe. It is Who Are You? Gets the 2K. Lisumin to match right that alongside him. Get the payload to the finish line. And Necro, look at that time bank. 4 minutes and 8 seconds.
Yeah, Farway didn't even get a chance to use the Captive Sun. It was online. There was no setup for it. It was just too much pressure coming through from O2 Blast to get set up. And that is a huge time bank, Vicky. Oh my goodness. This is why a Charge, even just getting that 7 seconds for their own capture is massive. They still get a chance to get the next round in.
What's the thing about Captive Sun too is that if your team has been cleared out, you need the follow-up to get the full potential of the Captive Sun. You want to get that explosion. So once you do that enough damage, it kind of ricochets off the other teammates that you have playing together here, and you can profit off of that. So it's so hard. Once you see that your team has gotten taken out, you could try to use that Captive Sun as like a Hail Mary, but with no follow-up, it's basically useless at that point.
I would love to have just seen the attempt though, right? Like, if you're gonna go down with your ultimate and you won't respawn in time, then that's a waste. It's a huge waste to not even just go for it and see if you can get literally anything done to help buy your team some time to respawn. But it is what it is, and now we're going into rounds 3 and 4, where Blast set up on the defense. Guangzhou Charge with only a minute really only have one chance to make this work. Oh! Okay! Let's go! Now! Move in! Now! Absolutely right now.
I love the revenge pick-off from the very beginning. He says, don't think I forgot about that after that first round out here. The shout, the follow-up from Protect right there. Finding Jinmu. Two Blast did lose out on Lisumin earlier, and now they lose out on Quarter next. Guangzhou Charge. There's a slight number advantage out here too, already waltzing their way onto this point, wasting no time to speed run this payload off from the garage.
Oh, they got 2 picks so early, and the fact that we do see Protect come back in here, it's just staggering the rest of the team. At the very least, you do try to attempt the touch, but now Protect is going to have the far spot, and it will be so much time before O2 Blast can actually get back in as a team of 5 to try to recontest this. Doors are going to open. Guangzhou Charge will have overtime active, but they're still making a ton of progress before O2 Blast can actually get back in. And they're going to start getting ultimates. Vicky, this is risky. They had so many things going right for them for Charge to be able to get to this point. They just can't get picked off here, and they'll be able to keep the ball rolling.
Oh, who are you? Did get that first pick here. Overtime ticking away. O2 Blast through the rest and clear off this entire point while Jimmy tries to find a way. Where can he go? Well, there's nowhere to go with Waryu being right there. Gaga's gonna be the next one to fall. Waryu's a problem, and he has not been shot at. The threat of the rest of O2 Blast clearing the rest of the payload, stopping it short after that second choke.
That was still so much distance for Charge to work with. You still have the first point to defend, as well as another attempt by those castle ground gates. So O2 Blast, like, it's not impossible here for Charge to be able to get the map win. But also when you look at a 4-minute time bank, O2 Blast have so much to work with.
I love the camera's like slightly following the lamp.
I'm being hypnotized. I'm being put to sleep.
You will see Lifeweaver. And that is exactly what we will be seeing. Falling under the spell. Seeing how this is gonna go. Very similarly, actually, just trying to theory craft here. Something that I've been enjoying watching. And we're not seeing it as a duel currently right now, but it's the Illari with the Lifeweaver. That is interesting because Lifeweaver mostly just completely defensive. So you want to be able to have that other support, not really focus on just the supportive, or rather the defensive options that you could provide here. You want to get much more aggressive if you can. Just from the other side of the support here too. Seeing how this is going to work out for O2 Blast, we're going to see some swaps.
Well, the Lifeweaver is also incredibly interesting because of the changes that ended up coming through with that massive patch. Oh, the life grip actually didn't work there. Prophet unfortunately got stuck on a roof, so wasn't able to get pulled back to safety. Luckily, it didn't matter, but we will see a swap off of the Lifeweaver just for that cheeky Widowmaker pick, and now we're going to see a little bit more of a standard composition coming through from O2 Blast. But the Symmetra, this time around, Prophet has been leaning into these hit scan picks, but this does allow O2 Blast to get in super quickly.
Wow, got deleted. Jinwoo and Jimmy were on Protect here too. The follow-up from Gaga onto Prophet. O2 Blast. This is exactly what Guangzhou Charge needed. Who Are You still remains the threat that they have to try to take out, but he manages to get away just for right now before Jinwoo tries to get a little bit more aggressive. Doesn't want to overextend.
Ooh, yeah, I mean, you just got pulled in by a knife. So it's very good that Jinwoo actually had a dash online, be able to get away from enemy lines, but ooh. Okay, Guangzhou Charge can continue this defense in such a nice fashion.
Jinwoo, you see poking from afar. Poke fighter that we've been talking about. Shout, all this with attack, and the rush is ready for Lee Soo-min. Oh no, Jimmy out! As Lego was able to get that boop off the map. Great start here for O2 Blast to clean up the rest of the charge off that pick alone. Huge here too, because Journeys had that rush at the very end there too, so they clean up the Guangzhou Charge and they already get this payload moving.
Yeah, at that point, if you use the Kitsune Rush there, that really is a waste, especially when the Kitsune Rush, if you need it for some reason for respawns to come back, you actually could use that as a mobility tool once O2 Blast get this payload rolling and through these doors. Who Are You is going to have a Blade. Jinwoo as well. Guangzhou Charge of a full slate of 5 ultimates here. They should be favored in this defensive fight.
They put, or rather, the output of Jinwoo's Blade here, and it gets exactly what they needed, which is the backline of O2 Blast, shutting them down hand in hand with Gaga. Zerny's also right there, far away, right alongside them. They're holding forward because they need to hug O2 Blast doors to delay even more time away from them.
Great too, because they didn't throw out every single ultimate they had in the tank. They still have the Molten Core, as well as the Terra Surge, and of course the Captive Sun. So you can rotate through these ultimates, try to buy some time. The Photon Barrier is going to come through, but that means it's time for the Molten Core.
Molten Core, trying to control some of that space before you dive in with the blade alongside the sound barrier to keep him in the fight, but then gets shut down by the Captive Sun, taken to the skies, was far away. Jinwoo is literally one before he gets taken out by Prophet, but where is that follow-up? We need to see more of a follow-up as the Rampage comes in. Protect finds Farway, and O2 Blast have more numbers here on this payload, clearing out the charge. Less than 60 seconds, and nobody from the charge is there to touch the point. O2 Blast now set themselves at match point.
That was such a valiant effort from the charge, though. Major credit to be able to actually eat through a 4-minute time bank. That was close. That was super, super close. And Charge not only bought themselves time from just how far they were able to push the cart with their minute, but also how much they were able to take away. We're still seeing so much signs of life from them, but O2 Blast being at match point now, Charge have one more chance to to be able to pick a map that's going to get themselves back into this. And it's Flashpoint next, Vicky.
Ooh.
There are so many question marks around this game mode. I don't know who would be able to take that from this team.
I'm excited because, again, I was theory crafting, wondering what we could see here from the Guangzhou Charge for that redemption arc that they so desperately need. We got map number 3 on the other side of this break. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, everybody. We are sitting at match point in favor for O2 Blast, and we are moving on to our third map. We are going on to Flashpoint Necker, and I can't be more excited.
I am so pumped. Flashpoint is the newest game mode introduced into Overwatch 2, and we have two incredible maps we will show that off. We got Surabasa and New Junk City, and Flashpoint has been able to bring in some new. I don't know, it's new and it's shiny, Vicky. I don't know what else to say, except it's gonna be so fun able to watch these teams go at it.
So I was telling Necro during the break, guys, but during my experience so far with Flashpoint, I have been able to play on Surabasa every single time, but like New Junk City just stays dodging me for some reason. So I'm really excited to see which of these Flashpoint maps we're going to be jumping to. Fingers crossed we get to see New Junk City. We got 5 random points activated after 1 point is captured here. You guys got to see a sneak peek of it within our last 2 matches, but it's always so cool to see how chaotic it feels. We have sometimes separate fights happening on different corners. Get to also take a look at the crowd. We're excited to see how this goes. Guangzhou Charge need all the support you can give them right now. You can see that in the crowd. Hopefully this is giving them the energy that they need.
They gotta do something because Guangzhou Charge at this point are on the brink of getting sent down to the lower bracket, whereas O2 Blast, match point. They could find themselves in front of Soul Infernal, which doesn't feel fantastic. Just knowing how well Soul Infernal has done this season, but still, a win is a win nonetheless, and it does bring them one step closer to being able to play spoiler to these Overwatch League teams. Also, one step closer to being able to defeat their big brother, Soul Dynasty.
That's a good point, because after this, they will face off against the Infernal, and then the winner of that will be able to play in the upper bracket final, and that is to say, we get to see that Soul Dynasty matchup here beyond that previous matchup they're waiting for. But so much here on the line, too, for O2 Blast also making their own redemption arc. Let's not forget where they were sitting in the overall standings just a few weeks ago. Winning the first 2 maps, and we are seeing New Junk City make way, everybody. I'm so excited to see how this plays off.
Okay, I'm with you. Like, I haven't had a chance to really be able to play New Junk City, but my goodness, the gameplay that I've been able to watch, as well as just how this map is laid out, it's so well done. I'm like, it's Junkertown, but bigger and better and more chaotic. I'm so pumped. I'm so pumped.
Yeah. We've seen so far on Flashpoint, the way that game mode works is that first control point is usually always in the middle of the map. I believe for New Junk City, it's going to be on Arena there too. So
Yes.
then from there, we see also how quickly it is to be able to take a point, which means with certain stagger opportunities, this is going to help the team winning these team fights, getting these initial picks, and setting up for that next control point once it becomes unlocked. We've already seen that in our last 2 previous series, so I'm excited to see how this is going to play out now versus the Charge at O2 Blast, because right now, O2 Blast, again, just 1 entire map away from taking this whole series.
The biggest thing about Flashpoint as well is that these teams are also still trying to figure it out. Much like Alari being the newest hero that's in the mix, you also have a new map mode to have to figure out how to play, and the secret formula hasn't been found yet. That randomized element you were mentioning before with 4 extra control points surrounding that center point could open up does make for some very exciting gameplay. But it's gonna be Arena, the center of that map, always unlocking first. And some very unique hero choices coming through. Prophet's on the Junkrat. How fitting, honestly, because we're over on New Junk City.
All right, Spill It Prophet, getting that team base buff out here. Solid shout coming in for Protect. O2 Blast really showing their appreciation for the map, but also working into what Protect has been able to rep already for the last 2 maps too. Guangzhou Charge have the advantage in terms of numbers first. You can see the way that O2 Blast is playing outside here, just waiting for the rest of O2 Blast to just re-engage. You need a Lucio, in my opinion, when it comes to these Flashpoint maps too. You want to be able to get to these points as quickly as possible, while Farway tries to heal up Gaga, just trying to take a much more aggressive approach, while Who Are You gets deleted by Farway.
Yeah, Who Are You now off the table?
Oh,
You're
what?
really relying on the rest of O2 Blast to try to get those picks, and they can't do it. Everybody's going down, and Guangzhou Charge, after being able to grab the Flashpoint first, is just going to start racking up that percentage. O2 Blast do have one more chance to be able to come back into this one, but Guangzhou Charge, they're going to have a Terror Surge online. The Captive Sun is also up. Guangzhou Charge can play so far forward, and because of the way that Arena is laid out, you don't have too many entry points that you can sneak behind enemy territory. So O2 Blast have to play this really well to just protect themselves from not getting picked off before they make their way in.
I was interested to see how the pylon was going to be utilized too for Inari here. They already deleted it, just backing away. The Captain Sun is online, sound barrier as well for Xerneas. Protect got hit by that javelin, and Jimmy gets the follow-up here onto Prophet. Overtime activated now for the Guangzhou Charge, while O2 Blast make their Hail Mary attempt on flicking the point successfully here. Here comes the shout for Protect. Well, Lego didn't have that healing output. It was really only Lee Soo-min here with that rush activated, but had lost out on 2 members from O2 Blast initially. So the swap over to the Tracer from Prophet comes in before saying, all right, never mind, gonna stick to the Symmetra before they make their way into that next point.
Next flashpoint.
Okay, the next flashpoint has been activated, and you'll be able to see Guangzhou Charge to start to get set up. But what's really exciting about seeing O2 Blast respawn right now is you could potentially take a fight outside of this point. But Guangzhou Charge have been able to rotate very cleanly over to the refinery, and they're just going to start to just stake their claim. Not a whole lot that O2 Blast can do about this when it's going to unlock in a few seconds, and Guangzhou Charge just squatting on the point.
I love the refinery here too. Huge ults that they have online for O2 Blast. Soundbarrier to match that with Xerneas. Jimmy activating the overclock, and the Rampage comes in, which is huge. It was able to find 3. Gaga on the other side, using the ult to try to contest everybody, pull everybody to them with the Photon Berry being activated by Jinbu, but it's the damage output favored by O2 Blast coming in. Terra Surge wasn't enough to help them out here, as Farway does find that pick onto Yu. Was only 1 pick nonetheless. Lego Lee Soo-min, survivability have definitely been here, involved in this fight, taking the point first.
Nice job by O2 Blast. Really didn't look like they had much to be able to work with when it came down to Guangzhou Charge, being in a much better defensive position, able to rotate over to the point first. But when you have ultimates to spare, that is absolutely a way to be able to get yourself back into that one. So O2 Blast now, who's on the other foot? They have control of the point first, and now Guangzhou Charge have to look at another attempt to try to get back into this one. After they used a ton there, Vicky, it's really just the Captain Sun that they're going to get online, if that.
Oh, that was a huge first pick there, too, and they held onto the blade for this next fight. Who are you capitalizing? Finding Xerneas, at least the pylon. Lee Soo-min was able to move in, get the cleanup, and that's another team wipe here. O2 Blast, they see the success, and at this point, you want to start moving around because they have already secured basically this point. They see the teleporter. They have to move back just slightly, but it's so hard to retake the point sometimes here with how quickly the progress moves.
Yeah, this is dangerous territory. If I were Guangzhou Charge, I would not try to get a recontest in here, just given the fact that you just don't have a whole lot else left in the tank besides the Captive Sun. But they are still going to try to make their way in. But O2 Blast, like, they have a sound barrier coming online. They have the overtime activated.
Oh, here comes that Captain Sun here, finds Prophet. But you mentioned the sound barrier from O2 Blast have been used up. Took so much damage right there too from the initial explosion. Still surviving, and while the shout for Protect sets everybody from O2 Blast in the driver's seat, overtime burns out, and the Guangzhou Charge have to go now for another reset for that next point.
Guangzhou Charge could have played this just a little bit differently. You notice that there's kind of like 2 main entryways over to Refinery that you could have tried to kind of set up for a new fight. But that flashpoint has moved once again. This time it's actually going to favor the Guangzhou Charge's side, as we are now going to get a chance to look at Bomb Flats as the next one in that upper left-hand corner. So Guangzhou Charge were set up there already with the respawns, which does help them out a bit to be able to get Jimmy this setup.
Tsunade rush here. Soo-min, Prophet taking a different off angle. I like the swap here too. The quick adaptation from O2 Blast, but fights them right back as Prophet and Who Are You first to get taken out. Jimmy going to find that head onto Who Are You. Protect about to go down with the Rampage. They'll be able to recontest next, but right now the Guangzhou Charge make their way onto that point first.
Charge getting the capitalization of the closer spawn, as well as just that nice early pick. So now they have the ultimate economy with 4 ults left in the bank. But you Blast do have this Rampage, and saving grace is that Guangzhou Charge do not have the Kiriko on the other side to be able to actually cleanse that away easily. So you can just kind of go in there, try to get a massive ante. There's going to be Jimmy's overclock first.
Finding who are you? That was huge, right? He would have had Blade in this fight for how long he would have gone. Rampage from Protect here too. The Soundwave from Xerneas to help restabilize the rest of the Guangzhou Charge. Protect and Prophet get cleaned up. Warriors making his way back, and with the Guangzhou Charge nearing already 75%. You see O2 Blast is trying to get away, just trying to restabilize if they can reset. But Gaga eats that Javelin, finds Lee Soo-min, and Guangzhou Charge are going to be able to take this next point.
Lee Soo-min going down there spells disaster for O2 Blast ever getting back into this one. So now they are looking at where that next flashpoint is going to move. And there's only really two options left. It's in that southern part of the map. We've got Refinery and, or the left side of the map, excuse me. It's actually just the Ducks. And things have been going so fast. It's gonna be the Ducks now available and open before we end up potentially making our way back over to Junkyard. All the right side of the map now open. But yeah, where you is a lot of playgrounds now with this Genji Blade available, and they are gonna make their way over first.
They got that Terra Surge ready. Follow with the Captain Sun. Comes a Photon Barrier from Jinmu first. I love this space he was able to buy with it here. Who are you? Activates the Blade right behind him. Tries to go for a flank with the Captain Sun activated from far away. Gets the 2K, gets the follow-up. No sound barrier from Lego is going to help out O2 Blast in this situation. It's going to be a wipe with Lee Soo-min being the last one alive to get away.
Huge chain reaction for the Captive Sun and just explosive amounts of damage. Let me point out the sound barrier just not enough there because there's just too much damage incoming for the overheal to really help bolster up that survivability. So Lee Soo-min now really the only one with that ultimate online. You could use the Katrina Rush to get access to this high ground, but when you've got Jimmy already set up here, like, that's a huge amount of cooldown invested to be able to get there, and you can't do it.
Wow. Losing on Who Are You, huge here. Especially since Prophet, when you alive, will Protect tries to run for his life. Yeah, out of here. O2 Blast have to go for another reset. It's going to be very difficult with Guangzhou Charge nearing that 70% mark. So close to getting those 3 points that they need for Flashpoint, Necra.
There's only one fight left for O2 Blast to get back into this one, and with Protect going down so late, this is going to have to be picture perfect. At the very least, O2 Blast have bought themselves enough time to be able to get this Photon Barrier online, so that's going to be their engagement tool into this zone. But they've got to play perfect now. O2 Blast, final chance.
They find Jimmy here. Soundbird from Xerneas does not help Jimmy in time. Overtime taking away with this final fight here going down. Guangzhou Charge so close to finally taking the map now. Deleted from their hands with Protect finding Gaga. Who Are You is back in the mix. Dashing right through fallaway, finding Xerneas. No support line of sustainability from the Charge before Jinmu.
Oh, stagger.
Oh no, this is what's so important here too. That stagger is so big because they need to try to match this percentage too with the Guangzhou Charge. Even though it goes by quick, they're still at that disadvantage nearing that 40% mark.
Absolutely. You buy yourself enough time here as O2 Blast for guaranteeing only one more recontest can come through cleanly from the Charge. But with 4 ultimates, the onus is on Charge at this point. They have ultimate economy, they have those 2 flashpoints, they're in this final fight now, and they get it done.
Here, the Rampage does land on Gaga there too. Gaga has a Terraform here, is far away, activates that Captain Sun, the follow-up finds Who Are You, Jinmu finds Protect, the support lineup of O2 Blast, Lego has that sound barrier, but with nobody to protect other than Lee Soo-min, it's Farway's game to clear up O2 Blast, 99%, they retake what was once theirs, and the Guangzhou Charge, they stay in this series, and they take map 3 on our Flashpoint map from New Junk City.
Well, now I can see why they picked New Junk City. That was awesome. 3-1. Guangzhou Charge had so much practice that you could really see that coming through with their rotations, how well they were able to control space so that Jimmy was able to get set up on the Sojourn and just have such long sight lines to work with. So they win their map pick, but it doesn't get easier from here. O2 Blast now get a chance to pick a map as a loser in that map.
And I believe it's also going to be push for our 4th map. We're going to have that on the other side of this break with Guangzhou Charge taking map number 3. You don't want to miss it. Welcome back, everyone. We just took a trip to New Junk City where the Guangzhou Charge keep their name on the board while O2 Blast still sit at match point. We got map number 4, and it's O2 Blast's turn now to make that map pick.
Oh boy, well now they get a chance to pick their map of choice, and O2 Blast over the course of this second half of the season played a lot of Colosseo. Feels like that's really been their bread and butter in terms of the push maps that they have available to them, and you may as well try to go to something that they're really good at. That's a great way to be able to close out the series, especially at that match point, right?
Yeah. Especially when you want to play to your strengths like that, the way that they have been able to keep up with the Guangzhou Charge, even though map number 3, they were able to take it. O2 Blast was putting up a fight. There's still a lot of adjustments being made around Flashpoint and how quickly you can take those points. But you can tell that Guangzhou Charge have absolutely been practicing on Flashpoint. Now we're going on to push, and I feel like here, after what we've already seen on AP and Eichenwald, that O2 Blast are going to have a much easier time versus what we had seen on New Junk City.
I love the symmetric choice. I do love the symmetric choice from Guangzhou Charge. I feel like Colosseo is one of those maps that you still could run it. There's a little bit less ability to set up those turrets just because of some of the more open stretches of the map, but I still feel like with the teleporter, you're able to actually get around and try to make something work in terms of just rotating around the enemy team. And we've seen that before, Vicky, right? Like, playing against O2 Blast really has been kind of tricky to lock down where Charge is going to move next.
Yeah, that's really true. And looking at what we've seen so far in terms of the composition between Guangzhou Charge and O2 Blast, we're seeing Farway really turn it up on the Illari, and I love seeing that too because we're seeing the follow-ups coming in that we didn't get to see, especially on that first map. Colosseo here, as we go on to push, I'm wondering with the high ground that you could work off of, being on top of the bridge, what that could provide if we do see Farway stick to the Illari.
The Illari has been so fun as well, because I think that when you look at Colosseo as a map, like, this is definitely a place that you could also have that work out. It's always been a lot of Sojourn, it's always been a lot of Soldier, just looking at the past 2 seasons of Overwatch 2 Overwatch League, and that's a nice way to be able to use the sightlines once again. But, you know, you had mentioned some struggles for the Illari that I do still feel like play a role in this particular matchup, especially if Min is going to be playing the Kiriko, and also with just how fast of a pace O2 Blast tend to set up in these fights. Not always a lot of time to be able to actually get the follow-up there from the Captive Son.
Struggle that's been being ironed out by the Illars we've seen thus far. Looking downside here is Prophet, just trying to see if they could get a cheeky pick here. Different angle. Spine Gaga, barely gonna do anything. Seeing how Guangzhou Charge are gonna set up here with the Symmetra and the turrets to try to block off that rotation, or at least provide some of that extra pressure. And with the teleporter, they've been able to get so aggressive. Wrap up right behind Prophet. Q, you did not see it coming. Zerdy is going to be able to fight Protect, and this is a great start here for the Guangzhou Charge. Maybe that's all it took, and everything it took getting that third map here. We're going to have to continuously see, because they're going to be able to get progress on this push spot first. And look at the way that Gaga is holding forward. Thanks to that teleporter, they can get some much more aggressive angles here on Colosseo.
One of the things I've loved watching about Illari gameplay is actually how you can deal with a Widowmaker. Like, it's so funny to watch because when you think about supports, you don't always think about the support player being the Widowmaker counter. Especially in Overwatch League, right? You're looking at, like, it's a Widowmaker versus Widowmaker. That's usually how you're going to be able to get the leg up there. But Prophet, if you can just kind of run at him, it's much easier to be able to take him down, especially if you have more long range at your back. But, you know, it's another neutral fight here. O2 Blast are going to be able to get the better of this one, but Prophet was taken so low in that engagement. Like, I just don't know how much value Prophet's really going to be able to keep finding on the Widowmaker. It remains to be seen.
Prophet could get enabled here, especially with the way that Min is playing right now. huge. Already has that rush activated while the Captain Sun is online for Farway. Uses that teleporter once again to get into position. Sets up the pylon, activates the Captain Sun while the rush is activated from O2 Blast. Sound Barrier first online for Xerneas. Nichols just about to get it, but O2 Blast trying to navigate away as Quarry was the first to get taken out. Prophet's about to beat him right back into the spawn room door, so Lego's going to want to hold on to that Sound Barrier, potentially seeing how Protect to try to make this comeback while staying alive, while also about to get the Rampage. Guangzhou Charge just rotating away.
Charge can play around that too. Like, you get a little bit of push. You know that you can start getting set up on the high ground. Like, look how far back Jimmy gets to play. O2 Blast are gonna have to do a lot of damage to get close. And look how many ultimates O2 Blast have to use here too to get back into things.
Wow, with Protect survivability and Lego just still holding on to Sound Barrier here too, they're just completely delaying any sort of progress that the Guangzhou Charge have been trying to inch forward with. They literally have just been working with crumbs here because they keep getting stalled out by Protect, who keeps living for so long while 4U makes his way back.
That's such a good point. I mean, Protect could try to hit these rampages a little bit early, but it's still about the follow-up, making sure some of the guns are offline, be able to get the value that you like to see out of that. But, you know, Charge, they're already back. Gaga's taking a considerable amount of damage, but the Alari's there to be able to heal him back up as Gaga gets ready for this ult.
Oh, Rizzo wants the hug, coming in with the Terror Surge here, while Jimmy, with the Disruptor shot over on the other side, is going to be able to find who are you. It's a trade, though. Jimmy putting himself in a vulnerable position, going down with the Overclock online. The hands of Lego, Prophet, meeting him right back in the spawn. They do get that trade, but Protect, once again, still staying alive here, but they lose out Lee Sumin finally. Lee Sumin has been a problem. Survivability is there. Staring at Gaga's face, he can't get away from the corner before finally getting taken out by Farway. Just wants to say hello, you know?
He wants to say hello, but he also, I think that's a sleep paralysis demon, right? It's like 60% in your face with a javelin for your Oh my goodness. You talked about seeing Demon Orisa. I think you're getting that right now. Prophet, unfortunately, does not like the paralysis demon, so we're gonna go ahead and send that all the way back to spawn. But Charge still has the upper hand right now when it comes down to the like push bot distance, and they Blast gotta get themselves back into this one. Sights is a great way to do that, just to force them back.
Forth in the tug of war while Gaga drops from the high ground, and a good amount of damage here. Reset. Sound Barrier comes in from Xerneas. Well, Jimmy, who had died previously with the Overclock, comes right back in to blast Prophet's head off his shoulders. Needs to win with a retaliation though and take it to the skies. We see Farway once again getting the output that they need with the follow-up onto Who Are You. Love seeing that Farway getting put into position thanks to Xerneas, but with the Rampage, he answers right back. The take damage is so much, but doesn't get the pick or follow-up that they needed off that Rampage. Lee Sumin's gonna meet Lego right back in the spawn doors, and it's the Guangzhou Charge that still have that number advantage.
I feel like O2 Blast have struggled a lot to get that Rampage value. This is not the first time that we've seen Protect struggle to get the follow-up onto that, even just being able to hit multiple members of the team. Charge have so many tools to be able to just kite away when you see the ramp up of the Rampage from Protect. Throw down the teleporter, just go ahead and walk through that, try to slide away, there's so much mobility online. So Charge is making it so difficult there, you're relying on Protect finding value from the knife in. Or just Prophet getting a pick.
That is actually huge out here too. Delaying that ult charge before you has that blade. Goes right though through the photon barrier. Activates the blade here. Finds Farway who's trying to run away. Xerneas gonna meet him right back here. Gets the 2K. While Gaga's gonna meet the rest of his team back in spawn. It's O2 Blast. Once again now retaking that bot while they still have that slight advantage.
This bot is going to start pushing past this. It's always this bridge that proves to be problematic for a lot of teams. But this time around, Charge, especially with the Orisa, can actually just go underneath. You can play around the corner instead of this bridge, right by that checkpoint, as O2 Blast already started making their way through that. Someone's still pushing though. Charge has to go down and touch. Just able to drop on.
So has that Captain Sun activated too. Gotta be careful with that outburst when you're so close by the ledge here too, but Lego's already got that in the books for you instead. Capture Sun now activated, but they've lost out on Jinmu here. Prophet and Who Are You find themselves back at the spawn earlier on in that fight. Lee Soo-min falls incredibly low, still manages to survive. Hand in hand with Lego, as he pops off, gets the 2K, wipes out the backline, says, don't worry to Prophet and Who Are You? He has this in the bag.
Now O2 Blast have this first checkpoint in the bag too. Charge, they did get a little bit staggered, so this bot is able to just start making it all the way back if they decide to push it, but leaving it alone in this instance is actually quite fine. Charge, they are going to start this contest very early, and you don't want to accidentally put yourself in a place where you overextend it, so O2 Blast need to just back up from this as we said overclock, you don't want to fall victim to this either.
We got the overclock here, but gets shut down by Protect, who goes crazy. Finds the pick with the Carnage, comes and gets put into position with the Jagged Blade, finds the Torb off of Jinmu. Entirety of the Guangzhou Charge is another reset here, while O2 Blast have so much in the bank here, already getting that extra progress on the bot with less than 2 minutes left on the clock.
2 minutes, and now that that first checkpoint is active, those spawns are much closer, and Guangzhou Charge, they just have to try to close the distance and set up Jimmy once again. Jinmu on the Torb here, this is a very interesting way to be able to lock down something like Who Are You's Genji, or even the Silco, but it's still tough here for even the Terra Surge to find its mark, with all of the ability once again to lock down anybody on O2 Blast.
Express, Lee Soo-min actually survived off of that too, right away from Gaga. Meanwhile, Jinmu, he clears up so much space with multi-core, finds Lego, but before that, Lego was still able to get the retaliation onto Gaga, who's trying to go for a flanking position here too. Jinmu finds Prophet next, and it looks like this swap is doing the Guangzhou Charge justice.
And Blast keep pushing forward though. Even, like, just any meterage you can get at this point makes it tougher and tougher for Guangzhou Charge to get back into this. Where the push bot is now and how much distance Charge have to make up, this is 2 team fights they have to win. You gotta win this one in the neutral, and then you also have to start inching your way forward towards that checkpoint. And there's only 45 seconds left. Prophet can also delay this by popping the sights and forcing Charge to not be able to access their team.
Huge first pick here as Prophet is enabled. He gets shut down by Jinmu, getting the heady onto Prophet, but still Prophet was able to find a 2K right before that. Who Are You, with some help from Lego, who is popping off this game, by the way, gets the follow-up. Lego and Lee Soo-min, their survivability is insane. They both only died twice, and Lego's able to play so aggressive while putting out so much healing here.
Oh boy. There's been a lot of healing, it's been a lot of damage, and this may be the nail in the coffin. Vicky, this is the final fight for O2 Blast. The Rampage active. That's so many people!
Rampage finding so much here. Guangzhou Charge now. Xerneas with the sound barrier to match up with Lego, where you does not have that blade. Gaga is so close to getting that Terra Surge with overtime ticket away in favor for O2 Blast. The huge first pick for Jimmy. But they lose out on Jinmu. Farway is going to meet his demise earlier on too. He was the first to get picked out again. It's only Gaga who's alive, terrorizing Prophet. But that's what Protect and Lee Soo-min to be the insurance that O2 Blast needs to take this whole series. They win 3-1 against the Guangzhou Charge.
Oh, O2 Blast. They seem to have found their bread and butter in this meta so far. But it wasn't just an easy victory for them. Guangzhou Charge, they were able to win New Junk City to be able to bring this to a map 4. And other maps were pretty close. Take a look at Eichenwald and how that one went as the second map in our series that went to extra rounds. And Guangzhou Charge were able to chew through a 4-minute time bank that O2 Blast accumulated in their attack round. So it hasn't been without a tough fight. While Guangzhou Charge do get dropped into the lower bracket, O2 Blast, they're one step closer to potentially being able to take on their older brother team in the Seoul Dynasty, but they do have a pretty tough opponent before that.
It's going to be hard, but not impossible out here, as we got to say, Who Are You is the player of the match. He was popping off on that Genji, but I also just really love to highlight the diversity of the meta that we've seen thus far within these last 3 series. We've seen Who Are You being enabled on the Genji. We've been able to see looks between the Orisa and the Junker Queen, the Torb as well. it's so creative to see how a lot of these other players get to work around the adjustments that they have to make on the fly, even when it comes to a game like Flashpoint that is new in the Overwatch League right now.
Yeah, Flashpoint still has some things to be able to work out that every single team is going to try to just work into their repertoire. And more practice means that we'll see more perfection. But one thing is for sure that Who Are You being able to play that signature Genji pick was just the exact thing that O2 Blast really needed. It's just so much fun to watch. Genji being back in the meta is always such a treat to see, and Who Are You just being able to pull that pocket pick out, it just looked flawless. It looked like it. Like, look how many adjustments Charge needed to make just to deal with Who Are You's Genji alone.
That's so true. They had so much attention set up on Who Are You, and then at the very end, we got to see Lego pop up in his own way, setting up Who Are You. From the very beginning, though, Who Are You was a problem that the Charge had decided to pinpoint going into that second round, where we saw it go all the way into round 3, but it was still so much that O2 Blast wasn't able to readjust. Even Prophet, we saw the Cassidy earlier, we saw the Soldier on this map too, then he swapped over to the Bastion, helped Who Are You, gets that deflect before diving in. It's the communication between Who Are You, and I just want to specifically say Lego here too, that sets up Who Are You to be enabled with that blade combination with the sound barrier before finding the threat that was also far away, that was able to start building up much more gas by the end of the series too on that Illari.
Lego deserves a lot of credit for Who Are You setups. Like, I love that you called out the sound barrier to be able to help just get that Dragon Blade so aggressive. But it's not just that, but like, look at the timing that Lego goes for to amp it up to make sure that you can get that speed online, so that Who Are You has even easier access to the back line. It's just like chunk after chunk, dash after dash, and despite the fact that you use Symmetra as a counter to that, so that you can't block the damage, you're still able to find so much value. And that's also very good for the fact that Charge did make some counter adjustments for that big one.
Slashing through, had so much success with the blade on top of it. You can tell that O2 Blast is feeling very comfortable with this Junker Queen. And it's once again one of those situations where Lego helps set up Who Are You with another blade. They take care of the backline, and something else to know, we didn't get to see the fancy part of it, but you also could deflect that Captive Sun with the Genji there. So that's something else to take into consideration for some of these counter picks out here. Let's jump into an interview with O2 Blast to see how they're feeling.
축하드립니다.
안녕하세요.
네,
Congrats on
정말
the win.
O2가 강력해져서 돌아왔다라는 걸 느낄 수 있는 경기였는데요. 승리 소감 어떠신가요?
So we can definitely see that O2 Blast is
오늘
very
이기긴
strong.
했는데
How do you
원래
feel about the
이거보다
win
더 잘할 수
generally?
있는데 3대 1이어서 살짝 아쉬운 것 같아요.
I was internally hoping for a 3-0, but it was a 3-1, so it was a little bit disappointing, but we still got the win.
기주류 영웅을 기용을 잘 하기로 유명한 그런 팀이었잖아요. 그렇지만 이번 메타 변화로 더욱더 날개를 단 것 같은 선수들의 모습이었습니다. 이수민 선수는 이번 메타에
O2
대해서
Blast is
어떻게
known for using
생각하시나요?
various comps, sometimes even off-meta picks. What's your opinion on the current meta so far?
아직 다들 잘하는 거 하고 있는 상태인 것 같아요.
아, 그렇다면
Right
그
now, I
부분을
don't think
살짝
there
더
is something
여쭤보자면
called in meta right now. I think
나왔던
teams are
경기 중
just
유일하게
figuring out
일리아리가
what's
나오지
good, what's bad,
않았던
and
팀이
playing
오토
to their
블래스트입니다.
strengths
루시오
mostly
킬콜을
rather than
기용하신
going
이유가
for a single
있을까요?
meta.
일리아디
So we saw
뭐 하면
Kiriko
잘
instead of the
자신 있긴
Illari.
한데
Was there a
다들
specific
그냥
reason that
잘하는
you
걸
had
찾다
you played the
보니까
Kiriko?
아,
정커킨에 맞는 루시오 키리코 하게 된 것 같아요.
So I think it comes down to a lot of the compositional things. We played the Junker Queen, so with the Junker Queen, we thought that Lucio Kiriko would be a better fit than the Illari.
혹시 오토 블래스트가 준비해온 전략이었을까요?
Was there something like a specific tactic or strategy that you've been preparing?
오늘 콜로시오 맵에서 프로페 선수가 들리시나요? 이수민 선수?
네, 들려요.
네, 프로페 선수가 위도우를 처음부터 끝까지 기용을 했었는데 오토 블래스트가 준비해온 전략이었을까요?
So we also saw a Prophet on the Widowmaker for the entire map on Colosseo. Is that something that was prepared, or was that something
네, 인터뷰
that's out of a win?
여기서 마무리하도록 하겠습니다.
We think we have some connectivity issues, so
네, 지금까지
we'll
이수민
that'll
선수와
conclude the
이야기
interview. Back to you.
나눠보았습니다. 다음 매치는 오늘의 마지막 매치인 SP.
Thank you so much, Unknown. Unknown, the GOAT, always. Always thanking him for the translation out here too. But also nice to hear, even from Lee Sumin, his thoughts on the meta. Like, there is no exact meta right now. Teams are still figuring things out. And it's also really nice to see that sneak peek here from that third series of the day. That's going to be the Guangzhou Charge versus O2 Blast. On the other side of this break, we got Scene Frieza versus Shanghai Dragons.